Hi, Steve here from Team Manhattan. Today we're going to do a little video with some tips and some tricks to help your clipping. So it's not necessarily a clipping tutorial, just some little bits of info that we find useful to help us get the best clips in our horses. Okay, tip number one is to find yourself some old waterproofs. There's nothing worse than being absolutely covered in hair for the rest of the day. So we have some wellies and some waterproof trousers, and then we collect these rather lairish looking little waterproof jackets that keep me nice and protected from the fur. So we have a little set of Lister clippers here. They're my favourite colour. These actually go on a battery pack as well, but today we've got them plugged in. The important thing with these is to make sure you have a nice set of sharp blades on. There's nothing worse than clipping with blunt blades. You'll get an awful clip. And what makes the blades blunt is all the dirt and the sand and the grit stuff that's trapped in your horse's coat. So make sure you spend a good 5-10 minutes giving your horse, like I had here with Promise, a really good brush over, so that there's nothing that's going to make these clippers blunt. Okay, so we're going to start here with his front leg. I'm going to try to follow the lines of his muscle. That's like a really good starting point for getting these lines the same on each leg. So let's give it a go. So another little trick, if you're trying to get your saddle pad right, is to actually go and find an old saddle pad. So we use just this old ProLite pad here that gives me a nice template in a bid to try and get it the same both sides. I actually don't tend to follow this curve on the ProLite pad. I just sort of go round, down and back up. But it means if I do the same both sides, it's going to look nice and even. So let's give it a go. So as you can see, got a little bit of a tidy to do there, but on the whole, that's pretty good. I can take that around to the other side now, do exactly the same, and we know it's going to be bang on. Okay, so another thing that's going to help your clips, especially on the greys, is to try and clip in nice, long, big lines. It's going to help you avoid turning Promise here into a bit of a zebra, or just an absolute mess where you're doing a bit of this all over the place. You'll have to do a bit of tidying at the end, but if you can, try and get some nice long lines. Let's see if I can show you. So you can see, other than the crease of his neck, we've got a nice big stripe that will just grow and grow and grow and grow. Another little bit of a tip is when I do another line, I overhang a little bit of clipper to the last line, and it just helps blend those lines in. Okay, so moving on to the legs. They can be a bit fiddly. We've gone on here to take Promise's legs all the way off. You can use your little trimmers. They're pretty good for getting in all the nooks and crannies. The only thing with these is if a horse's legs or feet are a bit muddy, the blades for these really don't last very long. So make sure your horse's legs are nice and clean before you start with the little ones. If your horse is good and stands still for you, Promise is most of the time, you can go ahead with your big ones. These aren't too big anyway, so it's quite handy. Just be mindful that the edge of the clippers is, or the edge of the blade, is actually really sharp. So even the most patient horses, like Promise, will only be patient for so long if you keep jabbing away with the sharp bit of the blade. Probably one of the most fiddliest bits you can do is around the base of their fetlock, because your clippers don't quite fit in there because they touch the floor. Well, all you need to do is pick the foot up, and then you can give it a good go in around the bulb of their hoof and their fetlock, and up the backs of their legs. And the other bits that are quite fiddly are just underneath their elbow. Same thing applies. You can grab their leg, pull their foot all the way up, or if your horse isn't particularly good at standing still, get some help and get a volunteer just to come and help pull that foot forwards. It means you can get in their elbow nice and tight. So quick little one on the tail. Most people probably do this anyway, but how we finish the tops of the tail is just making it into a nice neat triangle with the top of the triangle pointing up the centre of the back. No one wants a wonky triangle, so when you're doing it, same as the other lines of the legs, one line, two line, done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish them off now, but I hope that helped. A few little tips and tricks from us.